The pyramids of Giza stood unchallenged as the world's tallest structures for nearly 4,000 years. The pyramids were among the most magnificent and impressive buildings of the ancient world. Grand triangles lined with smooth, shining limestone and topped with a golden point entombing the dead pharaohs. The pyramids must have looked almost supernatural as they glistened in the ancient desert. Both inside and out, the pyramids showcased just how sophisticated and industrious the ancient Egyptians were. Transporting the materials needed to create such gargantuan structures across a barren desert, in a time predating the automobile, is a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. The Egyptians, however, used rafts on the Nile River and then ingeniously wetted the desert sand to make it possible to pull stone blocks atop of it using sleds. It is a commonly propagated myth that the pyramids were constructed by an army of slaves under the boots of tyrannical pharaohs. This, however, is verifiably false. Such misinformation can be traced back to two primary sources. Number one, Greek historians recording faulty information as they've been known to do. Whether they did this due to malice or it was just conjecture, there's no way for us to know. Number two, the Bible's Old Testament records that the people of Israel were enslaved in Egypt and forced to work on buildings whilst there. Some have extrapolated this to mean that the Jews must have built the pyramids. That conclusion is poorly misinformed, however, as anyone with Google can quickly discover the pyramids were in existence long before the people of Israel were ever enslaved in Egypt. The true nature of the pyramids' construction was far less nefarious. Local Egyptian men were paid to work on the project. A few would remain at work for the entire year, while most of them would come in seasonally after having harvested their crops for the year. The way in which laborers were treated was surprisingly progressive for the time period. Workers received compensation, housing, food, and medical care. Records of remains of workers have shown that Egyptians received a level of surgical and restorative care that was unprecedented for the time, that would even put practitioners up in as recent as the Middle Ages to shame. As previously stated, the pyramids served as tombs for mummified pharaohs. The pyramids and mummification were meant to protect and preserve a pharaoh's body and wealth. The idea within Egyptian religion was that a dead person would still require a preserved body and material wealth in order to be successful in the afterlife. The most famous Grand Pyramids. The famous pyramids of Giza, as well as their Sphinx, were all completed by around 2500 BC, which is over 2,000 years before the birth of Jesus and a staggering 4,000 plus years before the United States officially declared independence from England. Subsequent pyramid projects gradually became less and less impressive until their construction eventually entirely ceased. When Greek conquerors occupied Egypt during the 300s BC, the pyramids were as old to them as the ancient Romans are to us. The Egypt the Greeks conquered was a downtrodden, cheap imitation of the Egyptian society during the peak pyramid construction. Over time, the magnificent limestone coating and the golden peaks of the pyramids was gradually carried off by looters. When archaeologists undertook excavations of the pyramids in the 18 and 1900s, they found that many pyramids had been infiltrated and stripped of their valuables long before they'd gotten there.